Hey folks, Matt Cuda here. Welcome back to another episode of the Matt Cuda Photography Podcast. Today we are going to finish out the series I have been doing of my Florida trip to photograph wading birds, particularly during breeding season. This was a great experience. I just want to say thank you to the people I met and talked to during that time. First of all, I want to say thank you to Charles Glatzer, whatever you want to call him. Most people call him Chaz, who was there and showed me a few things. I wasn't there I wasn't officially there going to one of his tours or anything, but he was there and we talked. And he was able to show me a couple of the lighting opportunities within the rookery. So a big thanks to him and to all the other people that I met and talked to there. Thanks a lot. Enjoyed it. So let's get started. The last day, I guess I shot about 2,100 images that day. Of that, I kind of boiled them down to a few of my favorites here. Number one, great egrets. Great egrets are kind of the lifeblood of the wading birds in Florida. You will not find more wading birds, or more great egrets than you will in Florida. There are so many, in fact, they are the state bird of Florida. Okay, so here we have two great egrets. The mother and the chick. Now, what are they doing? This photograph is showing feeding behavior. Okay, they're not actually in the act of feeding or being fed, but what you're seeing here, it looks like kind of a tender moment. Maybe it is. Maybe they're communicating in some way, because if you look here, the chick will grab hold of the mother's bill and will pull on it when it's hungry. And that's kind of what's happening here. But it's kind of before the big pull, the violent pull. And so it looks more tender, more innocent to we humans who like to project anthropomorphic qualities onto animals. So think of it however you want. A tender moment, a feeding moment, however you want to think of it. It's an interesting photograph. Probably my favorite that day. I think it just kind of sums up my experience photographing there for a week. I can't complain. Is it award-winning? Depends, right? Depends. That's all subjective. I shot this. Understand now, I had sent back the Sony 200 to 600, so I shot this with my 150 to 600. Still a very sharp lens, as we shall see. You can see how sharp it is. Now, the chick's a little bit out of focus because the chick's on a slightly different focal plane here. Okay, ISO 800, 120. Why 1/2500th of a second? Why would I use that for this shot? Very simply because there's a lot of activity going on right now. You can't see. They're pulling. They're going to start pulling and twisting and trying to get the mother to feed them. And so that's a lot of activity. So that's one of the reasons that I do that. Down at the bottom, you have this massive nest. They have huge nests. This one, it's going to be a pretty old chick. She is going to be fledging probably in a week or so, and so that's very cool. Next photograph. Okay, probably my favorite flight shot of that day, maybe in the top 5 of the whole, top 3 maybe of the whole I don't know. Maybe. Another great egret, braking for landing. This is a braking for landing shot. She's going to land somewhere over here. Okay. How do I know she's a she? I don't for sure, but most likely it's a she. I don't see a lot of coloration change here in the lore indicating breeding. Doesn't necessarily mean anything. Could just mean a little less hormones. Could be a male. You don't necessarily know for sure. Good focus. Taken with my my Sigma lens. So yes, sharp focus is possible in flight with that lens. Really cranked up the 1/5000th of a second. I doubt you're going to see any movement there, which is fine. If that's fine, there's no problem with that. If you're wanting to really freeze action, every tiny feather and all that, that's exactly what we did. Okay. So I really like that. I love the wing position. If I could change anything, I wish the sky was a little bit less bright right here because of the white nature of the bird. So a little more contrast from that background would have been nice. Okay, next image. What are you doing with an African vulture here? Right, this is the Cape vulture. This was taken. This is a captive bird. It was taken inside of the facility there at Gatorland, not in the rookery, but in the zoo area. First time I've ever gotten glass on this guy in captivity or not. Really love this vulture. It has such a classic vulture shape. It reminds me of the old cartoons where they would draw a vulture. They often had this profile. Okay. But nice coloration on this vulture. Love the grayish white feathers. Excuse me, yawning. I love the bill of this vulture, and of course the very almost eagle-like eyebrow here. It reminds me very much of an eagle. 1/800th of a second, f6.3, 2500 ISO. So getting up there in the ISO. I did run some noise reduction software here. So it probably not quite as sharp as it could have been because of that. But still quite sharp. Quite sharp. Next image. What do we have here? We have what I call a great specimen of a snowy egret. This snowy egret has everything you're looking for in a breeding bird. Okay, so how do we let's go from the top down. The feathers. The feathers are ruffled into a kind of that angry posture that they get, or when they are actually flirting with females. You'll see it back here as well. Yes, they do have this in the off-breeding season as well, but it's more prominent during breeding. The feet are very dark, orangish brown, indicating an adult bird, and a little darker during breeding. The lore, let's zoom in on the lore here. We've got this dark red lore, only occurs during breeding. Beautiful bill, black bill, nice, sharp, yellow eye. Taken with my Sigma 150-600 Contemporary. Just a good, that's why I wanted this photograph, because it was such a nice looking species. Next image. All right, so I told you I was talking to Chaz, particularly talking to him more toward the end of the day. Now, what he suggested was that we all look for these palm trees in the background that get lit by the sun. Yes, these are palm trees back here. And they take on this greenish yellow glow and it's very beautiful. We've got the tricolored heron set against it. Beautiful portrait. Zoom in, sharp. So for those of you that say this is not a sharp lens, you're stupid. Okay. Because this guy is 600 millimeters and it's sharp. 1/400th of a second, f6.3, ISO 1250. And think about that. Not only is it sharp, but that's ISO 1250 sharpness. Imagine what this would be like at ISO 100. So I really like that. Thanks, Chaz. Love the tip there. Always looking for tips. You're never too professional to get tips. If you're too professional to get tips from somebody, you need to think again. You are too full of yourselves. Okay, so what's this? Again, I'm in the zoo. Thought, hey, you know what? Why not take a photograph, a close-up photograph of an alligator's back? These are things you can do inside zoos that are hard to do in the wild. What happens if I zoom in on one of these guys? This is what their back looks like. It's got this, what looks like quite soft skin mixed with these nodules that come out for protection. So they're armored, essentially. And here's kind of the seams. They have seams in these plates. And they have these armored plates. It's like a super thick leather, is what it is. This one's really in sharp focus here. These two are. So isn't that something? Amazing work by God to come up with all this. Amazing. No evolution about it, guys. This is done by a higher power. This stuff didn't just happen. That's not possible. It's just mathematically not possible. Okay, so last image. Let's talk about it. Full flash image here. So dark, I had to use full flash. What we have is a nest, and these are snowy egrets that are getting some age on them. And look how ugly they are, man. I mean, some ugly little buggers, man. Birds' beauty is in their feathers. Okay? That's the way it is. A bird's beauty is in their feathers. Are they still cute like this? Yeah, they're kind of little puffballs. They're kind of cute. But that's not really the way they're going to look. You can see the pin feathers in there still. Look at some of the down we're getting here, though. Look at that. Just beautiful, downy looking feathers. Don't have any of their primaries in yet, really. These are primaries coming in here, but they're just not really developed. So anyway, cool shot, I think. Helps sum up the trip. I'm there to view nesting birds, and here's a couple. Boy, I'll tell you what, if you've never been there, the noise that they produce is astounding. It can be very loud, very, very, very loud. So if you do go there, realize that. Was there other images I took that are equally good? Probably. I just thought this was a good selection for the day. And a good way to round it out. I had a great time. I'll be back. Probably not next year, but maybe the year after. I run the breeding cycle. I don't follow it every year. I typically will go every 2 to 3 years for breeding wading birds. That's just kind of my schedule. I do go down there every year in non-breeding season to photograph just wading birds doing their thing, shorebirds doing their thing. A little bit different during the non-breeding season. You don't have the bright, beautiful colors and so on and so forth. So anyway, encourage you to go there. I enjoyed it. I want to let you know of what's going on in my world. I've got probably at the time I release this, I'm probably still running the giveaway. Take advantage of that. I really do give away my art almost every month. Sometimes I wait a month in between. I give a piece away about every month, and people really do win them. People email me their photographs of them on the walls, and so I can testify to that. So do take advantage of that. What else do I got going on? Probably nothing at this time. I should be in full swing hummingbird photography by the time this is aired, and you should start seeing some of that coming out in the podcast. So be looking for that. I guess I'll just sign off. Thanks for watching. Make it a great day, and whatever you do, get out there and enjoy nature. Bye-bye.